I've been meaning to do a podcast about today's topic for ages, but I just keep putting it off. Every time I try to start, I end up thinking, it's fine, I'll get to it later. Okay, I've just given you a big clue, but can you guess what the topic is? That's right, it's procrastination. Now, that might sound like quite a big and complicated word, but actually it's something we all experience in our lives. Procrastination is the act of delaying or postponing tasks or actions that need to be completed. Does that sound like something you do? Be honest now. It's a common problem that affects people of all ages, professions and backgrounds. Sometimes it's quite harmless, especially if the thing we're delaying is low priority. But it can also lead to stress, anxiety, and a sense of being overwhelmed. So it really is something worth getting control of in your life. There are a few reasons why people procrastinate. One of the most common causes is a lack of motivation. When we don't feel motivated, we're less likely to take action and get things done. This lack of motivation can be caused by a variety of factors, such as fear of failure, lack of interest in the task, or just feeling overwhelmed by the scope of the work. Another common cause of procrastination is a lack of focus. People who are easily distracted or have trouble concentrating often find it difficult to stay on task and get things done. This can be especially hard in today's world, with so many distractions around us, like social media, emails, YouTube, and the list goes on. Now, I already mentioned that procrastination can increase our stress and anxiety levels, but what about other downsides or negative effects? Well, when we procrastinate, we often feel guilty or anxious about the work we're not doing, which can lead to a cycle of negative emotions. Putting off or delaying a task can also lead to missed opportunities. This can be a real problem in a professional context, where missed opportunities can lead to lost income or career advancement. And the final thing I'd say about the downsides is that procrastination is what we call a vicious cycle. It goes round and round in a loop. Putting things off just increases the size of the mountain of work we have to do, and that leads to more procrastination, and so on. So what can be done about it? Well, the good news is there are things we can do to break this vicious cycle. So here is the list of my 6 top tips for overcoming procrastination. Number 1 is to set realistic goals. People who set realistic goals for themselves are much less likely to procrastinate. Setting smaller, more achievable goals can help people build momentum and stay motivated. So building on that, Number 2 is to break tasks into smaller pieces. When NASA first sent humans to the moon, they didn't think of it as a single massive problem. Instead, they broke it down into pieces or smaller steps. How do we launch a rocket into Earth orbit? How do we get from Earth to the moon? How do we slow down and land on the moon? And so on. And before you know it, there are humans planting a flag on the moon's surface. So when you have large tasks to complete, it can be helpful to break them into smaller, more manageable pieces. This can make the task feel less overwhelming and help you to stay focused. Okay, number 3, prioritize your tasks. People who prioritize tasks in order of importance are more likely to get things done. Prioritizing helps people stay focused on the most important things and avoid getting sidetracked by less important tasks. Next up, number 4 is to create a schedule. Put aside a specific window of time in your calendar to work on a task. Scheduling time for tasks can help you to stay focused and avoid distractions. which leads to tip number 5, minimize distractions. You can do this by turning off electronic devices, closing email and social media tabs, and creating a quiet work environment. To be honest, I'd even say put your phone in a different room. And finally, tip number 6 is to use positive self-talk. Encouraging yourself and focusing on small achievements can help people build momentum and stay motivated. Sometimes all we need in life is a bit of momentum, a fair wind in our sails, and then everything feels easier. So there you go. Those are some of the things I try to do to keep on top of my work and to break the cycle of procrastination. I'm far from perfect at this, like most of us, but these things do seem to help me, so I hope you find them useful too. And if you've been meaning to email